As soon as you become too comfortable in a job, that's the time to leave. When it becomes in anything in life, actually, when you're in a situation and it's very, very comfortable, it feels easy, it's predictable, you don't feel butterflies in your stomach, and you don't feel this healthy nervousness and anxiety, it's time for a change.
Welcome to our first episode of Do Youth Council podcast. Jamal Najem is the CTO, Chief Transformation Officer Ignite at Do. Welcome, Jamal, to our first episode.
Thank you, Sheikha. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm honored to be your first guest.
I'm very happy that you accepted our offer.
Of course.
And just to ask you, how are you feeling today?
I feel great, actually. I feel better now that I'm sitting here with you, but alhamdulillah, I feel amazing.
So, what I heard about Jamal Najem all over Do, about the personality you're having and the energy that you bring to Do. So, tell me, Jamal, what's the secret behind your positive energy, behind that unique personality? And before I forget, we actually did some digging before you come here.
Uh-oh.
So let me quote one of your ex-colleagues at Toulouse. Jamal Najem is one of the most gifted managers that I have ever had the privilege to work with. She has an infectious personality that is impossible not to like.
Well, that was many, many years ago, and that was very kind of them to say. And I have a side of a personality that sometimes is not so easy to like, but I'm flattered. The positivity is the coffee that Marlo brings me every morning. I don't know what she puts.
Thank you, Marlo. Thank you, Marlo.
It helps. It helps a lot with positivity. No, it's a mindset, right? Since I was a little girl, I always like to see the bright side of things. Even in the most difficult situations, there's always a positive. So it's about what you choose to see. And I feel a responsibility as a leader when I come into the office that I come in with the best of myself. I owe it to my team. I owe it to my colleagues. I owe it to the company. And as a leader, people are always looking at what I'm bringing, and it affects them. If I come in and I'm not positive and I'm in a negative mood or I'm not feeling good, it has an impact on my team, my employees. And if I come in and I'm positive, even though they're having a bad day, sometimes they look, and I like to think that my positive energy and my positive outlook gives them more confidence and motivates them to overcome whatever challenges we're going to face during the day.
I think to add on that, I do remember one day we were actually decorating for our national team.
Yeah.
And then I think Ignite had already done their celebration prior to ours. And then Jamal walks because you ladies, you look beautiful here. That's the spirit. I was like, that's so kind to see. Like, what benefit would you get out of it? Just telling us. So you just made many girls happy.
Yeah.
You made women empowered. Even though maybe we looked fine, but
no, you look
just
beautiful.
Give us a boost, that confidence. Like, that's what matters, especially coming from a woman to another. Let's talk about the stress you're under. So I believe everyone is aware of Ignite and the new transformation that's coming to the company. Let's say you're building a whole new department or integrating new department, and you're constantly watched under everyone's radar. So how do you balance being positive outside the meetings, outside your workforce? How do you balance? You have the stress and you still have your positivity.
Yes. It's not always easy, right? On a transformation like this, you have ups and you have downs, and sometimes the downs are much more frequent than the ups. The way I balance, honestly, is I pick some of the best people to be part of my team. And so we share the load. So the stress, most of my stress is not so much about the work and so on, because I have good people. I have to trust them and support them. And I know that they will get the job done. They're the right people to do the job. They're committed. They're going to get it done. Most of my stress is really around not letting my team down and not letting my boss down and not letting the company down, and making sure that, you know, every day I'm giving my 110%, and making sure that when somebody can give their 110%, because for whatever reasons, I'm able to take off, take some load off of them and keep things moving. So no one can do a transformation like this on their own. And leaders are only as good as the team that they have, uh, with them. And so my success will be the success of the team. And knowing that I have a great team, that helps me with my stress level. If I knew we didn't have the right people and the right team, then of course it would be very difficult for me to manage my stress.
But what makes you trust them? What's the thing between you and your employee? Why do you trust them? And why do you think it's important?
Yes, that's a really good question. Trust is built over time. So in the beginning, of course, they didn't trust me, and I don't trust them, and we have to build that trust. And we've been working together for some time, and alhamdulillah, with time, uh, uh, we've learned to trust each other. And trust starts with a very simple, in my mind, a simple principle. When you say you're going to do something, do it. It starts with keeping your word. That's where credibility and trust starts. So when I promise my team something or I commit to something, I make an effort to stay true to my word. And by leading with that example, it's implied and they see, then they do the same, and I learn to trust them. That when they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. It's done as far as I'm concerned. And over time, that starts as the first part, but little things like that, with even being able to trust them in confidence, say things and know that, when I have a conversation one-on-one with you and I say this is in confidence, it's not going to be published in the newspaper the next day, right? So with time, you build the trust. With little things, you start to learn that, this person has got my back, and so I'm going to also have their back. This person, when they say something, they mean it, it will happen. And if it doesn't happen, I will trust that they will come and let me know, in advance. This person is someone I can confide in. And that's how you build it. That's how you build the trust with your team.
And I think lately we've been seeing a lot of activities coming from your side. And I think it's very important to know how your employees are actually doing. Instead of, just giving them tasks and expect them to be on time, and don't ask them about how they felt, or are they able to deliver? Are they comfortable with what they're delivering? And I think the amount of teamwork or activities that you actually provide for your team is very important, especially since you guys are a lot under stress. And I think we all need some time off, to just get to know each other. So what made you think that this is important and necessary for my team?
So this aspect, it took me a while to learn it. Sheikha, I've done several transformations before, and with every transformation, you learn, you grow, and you take something from it that, you say, this worked and I want to apply it. And for me, what took the longest to learn from several transformations that I brought here to do is the importance of paying attention to the people aspect of a transformation. I'm a delivery person. When I started my career, it was all about deadlines and deliverables. I'm not necessarily naturally a person that's, super empathetic and very focused on the people side of things. I'm like, there's a milestone I have to meet, boom, and I focus on that.
Yeah.
But I realized over time that everything is about people. Everything's about people. And there's a magic that happens when you have the right people together, and those people are rallying around the same vision and the same mission, and those people are committed in almost the same way, and those people feel like they're not alone, they're part of something bigger than themselves. Something magic happens. Like, you get the best out of people. And so when I joined the program here, I knew that what we have in front of us is a very challenging mission. very challenging from a timeline, from a scope, uh, from, complexity is everywhere. And I knew that if the team of any person on the team felt that this is all on them or they have the burden to carry by themselves, that the motivation will not be there. It's a matter of time before people will give up and just, you know,
Yeah.
we will not succeed. So I put a lot of my energy and, a lot of people will say, put a lot of energy to say, okay, while the team is focusing on the work, I want to focus on the team. So they focus on the work, but they cannot be forgotten. They have to know that somebody is still focusing on them, is looking out for them. So as much as I want the team to meet the deadlines and I want them to achieve the deliverables and all that, still have to do it in a way where they know that this isn't at the expense of their health, their mental health or physical health. It's not at the expense of their family. It's not at the expense of, uh, you know, uh, having the burden on their shoulders alone. We do it with fun. We do it with joy. We do it with a sense of this is our project. It's our success. And if we work together and we collaborate together, we will be successful together. And no one is alone.
I think speaking of fun is when I came and wanted Marlo's help. It's like, Sheikha, I'm like, yes, Marlo, come, we have snacks. Yeah, thank you, Marlo. I want to ask, because Jamal, no, come here. And then she started opening the plastic papers, and then, Sheikha, I'm very sorry. I'm like, wait, they're all finished. It's okay, Marlo.
Oh, we're gonna need to get you. We'll solve that problem.
I'm like, Marla, it's okay. Yeah. I know Ignite has lots. She was like, don't worry. At 10:45, we have more snacks.
Yes. And food always makes people happy.
I think it's important to feed people.
Of course.
Especially under pressure.
And Haram, no joke, like the team works nights, they work weekends, and it's been months and months of nonstop. And this is only the beginning. We just started. So it's not going to get easier. And therefore, as a leader, if I don't find a way to, keep my team motivated and care for them, genuinely care for their well-being, we won't make it.
And I think the goal is just the beginning. Even if you reach your goal, this is just the beginning of something new.
Yes.
And I think that's important because it's going to keep you motivated to do even bigger.
Yes.
You're going to go higher.
Inshallah.
And I hope, inshallah, you will aim for that.
Inshallah, ya Rab. Yeah.
So you came from Canada, right?
Yes, I did.
So how is it here in the UAE? Is it your first time?
Yes, actually, I arrived exactly like roughly a year ago. And I had no idea what I was coming to. I'm Lebanese originally, but I left Lebanon. I was 6 years old, and I've lived all my life in Canada. Canada has been my home and my what I call my country. I was there from the age of 6 years old. It took me maybe 2 hours, and I was at home in Dubai.
That's amazing.
100%. And how you know that a place is home? Obviously, where your loved ones are, it's always going to be home. But when you leave a place and you feel that a part of you is left behind, and only when you come back do you feel whole, that's when you know you're home. And that's how I felt. When I left here, I felt like some part of me is still missing. And when I came back, I'm like, oh, now I'm whole again.
I want the heat.
I love the heat. It was like 25 degrees in Canada, and I felt cold. And before 25 was summer. 25 was summer. I couldn't wait to be back.
So what's the difference do you feel? You left your home and you came here, you said that you are at home. But what can you tell can be different in Canada and here that you're facing, especially in the work field?
In the workforce, okay, so for me here in my role particularly, of course, in other places you work, it's purely work. It's professional. You just come, you do your job, and everybody follows, their job description, and they do their work, and very good. Here, what I notice, and I could be wrong, the title and the role itself is not sufficient for you to get someone to do their work. the relationship, the human relationship between and how you interact with this person is actually more important. So, in order to get something done, you got to build a rapport. Just because their title is this and this is their job, you can't come to them and say, okay, this is your job. Can you please do that? There's, again, that trust and that uh, you got to invest in the relationship. You have to invest in building the rapport with people in order to get things. And because it's such a diverse culture and a diverse team that we have, it also requires an openness to understand where people are coming from and which way and adapt your way to who you're dealing with. So it's from that perspective, it's a little bit more challenging, I would say. That if you want to get something done, you really need to build first trust at a human level. Doesn't matter titles at work. At the human level, you need to build that trust, and then you need to continue building in it. And to build that trust, you got to understand the person that you're working with, or that you're engaging with, or that you're talking to, where they're coming from. Not only culturally where they're coming from, but where they're coming from mindset-wise.
Since you came to the company, everyone is fascinated about you, and I think no one is following you on social media to think the whole company is. And you're very out there. They're just curious. Oh, Jamal is going to this restaurant. How come she's finding restaurant?
Jamal loves to eat. Jamal
I-
loves food. That's no secret.
And I remember you telling me, Sharifa, tell me about new restaurant. I'm like, Jamal, I think you know what are the meal.
Yeah, that's one of the
It's like
things I
challenging,
know about.
Rani. It's not about like it's how we say to you, although you only live once. So I think that's what you aim for. So what made you choose the choice of having your social media public?
That's a tough one. It took me a long time to get my social media public, and it's been years that I've been posting. And if you notice, I post pictures, but I rarely put comments. In the beginning, when I started this, to be honest, I did it more about, for me, looking for this wow factor. I was curious to see, where would I go and be impressed, be really wowed. What are some of the things that I would see that would wow me? So I would go to a restaurant, I would observe, really observe from the venue itself, from the menu, from the food, from the presentation, from how they, if I stand up, do they fold my napkin? Does the bread come hot or does it come cold? And I had a checklist in my head. And so I just for fun, I would go and I would say, okay, as a customer, when I walk into a place, what makes me go wow? What makes them stand out? What makes me remember that place versus another place? And I've tried everything from Michelin star restaurants, which is really what I go out, check, to anything. And I did it more because I'm always curious about, in my job when I do transformations, about what is it that we're trying to deliver. And it's always, what is it that's going to impress? And it's always from the customer's point of view. So going to those restaurants for me, yes, I do love food, but it was more than the food. This is why I go to those Michelin star places. It's always in search of that wow factor. And I'll tell you that after you've gone to so many Michelin star restaurants, they all seem to be the same. So after a while, even that, and I'm like, okay, where else do I need to go to find something that is different, that is even more wow than the wows that I've already experienced? Because you can only do wow once. If you also look, I have a philosophy. I never go to the same restaurant twice. Never go to the same place twice. Even if they wow me and I'm so in love with it, I don't go to the same place twice. Very rarely does it happen.
But you don't get to try out all the menu on the food on the menu.
Most of the time when I go, I try out
Everything.
yeah. That's why I need to lose weight.
I
But
think
yeah.
I'm booked every Thursday with Jamal to try out.
Come, yalla,
You
khalas,
should
next
be a
one.
food critic then.
Yes, that's what my kids. Everyone tells me I should be a food critic.
Yeah, since you like trying out something new and something different, I think.
Maybe one
that's a
day.
hobby.
One day when I finish this transformation, I'll have time to.
What's your hobby then? Just
I have lots. I love. Okay, so strange that I'm in IT because actually I'm an artsy. I like the arts very much. I like theater. I like music. I love painting. I like writing. I like poetry. So very artistic side. Now I like food. I love eating in restaurants. I hate cooking. I
Same.
never cook. I've been in my apartment for a year. I don't. Yesterday was the first time I told the maid when she came in to clean us to help me see how I can open the oven and the stove. I've never used it, and it's one of those gas things.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Canada,
yeah.
we have the electric ones because I eat out all the time, and then I'm like, if I'm going to cook, it will never compare to those places that I go eating. And but I love art. I can spend hours,
Do you have
days
something specific that you do daily?
painting.
Paint.
Yes, I love. Even though I'm not so good at it, I just do it because when I'm playing with colors and I'm experimenting and I'm not thinking about, you know,
Work.
no, I am thinking about,
Yeah.
but in a,
I think
I
you're
am,
growing again.
but yes, but in a more fun way. It's like the motion and it helps me relax. It's a very weird thing, but it's a relaxation process. And also because I'm alone, I love being alone. I just love being alone. So this is my alone time, and I do a lot of alone time actually, where I just think and I meditate and I paint and I draw and
I think this question hurts me the most is when someone asks me what's your hobby, because I don't have one. I actually try to even just find one and choose it as a hobby. I used to have one. Like I used to ride horses. I love
that's
it.
amazing.
Yes, until I fell. So it was like the end of my
Why
horse
did you
riding.
stop?
I got scared. I can't go back because I feel like I got traumatized from the experience
That's
of how I
exactly
felt.
why you need to go back. Horse riding is an amazing
It's amazing. I love it. I love horse. I love animals and I love horses. But
We're gonna have to go back on that. Whatever scares you, that's exactly what you should do.
no, what if it breaks you?
No,
Scares you
no,
that it
no.
breaks you.
What if it doesn't? What if it frees you? What if you go on there and then you feel alive and you feel free and you feel like, wow, I just overcame my fear and think positive. Do not think of the what if in the negative way. That's think of the see, I'm afraid of heights. For the longest time in my life, I was afraid of heights. My kids would laugh at me because we used to have an apartment on the 20th or 25th floor and there was a balcony. And every time my child would go on the balcony, I would scream and I would freak out and I'll bring him back in because I'm afraid that he gets too close and then I'd have to see the edge of,
Yeah.
the I was afraid of heights. And when I turned 53, I remember my 53rd birthday. That seems like a long time ago based on where I am now. But I said,
23, you mean?
yeah, no, no, no. Wallahi. Don't take away. I'm very proud of every single one of those years. I decided I'm not going to be afraid anymore. So I went skydiving for the first time by myself. And wow, I did not tell my husband. I didn't tell my kids. I called. I said, if it's meant to be, then they will say, yes, we have an opening. So I called. It says, yes, we have an opening in 30 minutes. If you want to come, got in a taxi. I didn't allow myself time to analyze and to think, right? Because then I would not do it. Just do it. Exactly. Just do it.
Was
So
it here?
no, it was in Toronto over Niagara Falls. So so I'm going to tell you about here. So I went up and it was honestly the best feeling ever when I landed, like after we did the jump and I touched the ground, my feet touched the ground. I had so much adrenaline. I was like jumping and running and it felt like I'm still searching to find something that will make me feel like that again. So I went last Saturday, actually. I went to skydive Dubai.
Wow.
But
The one in JBR, right?
to jump over the palm.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I couldn't do it because now I have to lose weight. I was 1 kilo because they weigh you and you have to be a certain. So now I'm on a diet. In 2 months, I want to go back and do it. Yalla ta'amai. Come, Sheikha.
No way. You
so
easy.
Now I will do it. You're stronger than you think.
For me, like the people who go to skydive are people who are very out there and adventurous. Because I don't think I have the courage to do that. Because when I see it, I'm like, why? Why are they doing that?
Adrenaline.
It's lying and then don't know what's happening.
It's adrenaline. See, why do I do these transformations? I do them all of the stress and all of these. It's very crazy what I'm about to tell you. I got hooked on those transformations after my first one that I did because this gives me more of a rush, adrenaline rush, than any skydiving, but only on one night. So I work on those for a year of meeting deadlines and this and that for the one night, which is the cutover weekend night, where you're finally executing after 2 years or a year and a half of testing and this and that. Now you're bringing up the system. And everything that can go wrong usually goes wrong on cutover weekend. So the adrenaline is like, boom. And you execute to that plan, and you have only 2 days. You have to get it all right before 8 a.m. comes. Then you have to hand over to the business, right? And I tell this story all the time. And that's when, for me, it's the most exciting time of this program. Everything I do, I envision that day. I envision that this is coming, and I'm addicted to this. And so, cutover weekend, inshallah, if all goes well, it's 3 words that I look for. We are live. And those 3 words, for me, is the equivalent of that landing from the plane. It's the ultimate rush.
I think that's amazingly well put together.
It's the ultimate rush. And it speaks success, it speaks teamwork, it speaks I can do anything, it speaks, we did it. It's like amazing. But then the next day, I go through a little bit of a depression, to be honest. It's just like anything else. It's like an adrenaline. You're on your high. You spent the whole 2 years. You were focused on this one goal. You achieved it. Then you go down a little bit. It's like, okay, it'll take a few, months to find another purpose and get back to your momentum, to your purpose. And then you go at it again. And then you're hooked. You're hooked. That's the only reason I chase transformations like some people chase hurricanes. It's an addiction for that high of we are live.
For me, it's important. I always say this, like, it doesn't matter to me how much work I do. I just want to be appreciated. Because I think, like, I have a lot to put in. And I think many people, not just me, like, have an ambitious future, want to do something, want to achieve something. If I did not want to achieve, I wouldn't be here. Like, we're not working just for the sake of, let's say, money, or for the sake of wasting time. But I studied 4 years of my life, and I know that I can achieve something. And now I'm also pursuing my master's degree because I just don't feel like I can bear free time. I don't like to have free time, so I just like to achieve. And when I achieve, I like someone to appreciate it. You did a good job. I'm happy.
And you're happy.
My week is completely happy because I'm like, oh, my hard work paid off. Since you have came like freshly out of Canada with a new position at the new department and everything, how did you, let's say, win your colleagues?
The way I believe what worked for me was, in the beginning, I approached them with an appetite to learn about them, with an open mind of, I don't know everything. I'm here to learn as well. And to understand the culture, I observed a lot in the beginning, observed the dynamics of the team, observed the different personalities on my team, observed how they interact with each other. I observed the difference between, interacting with a Nimirati versus interacting with someone from different culture. It's very different. Everyone is different. And so in the beginning, I was observing and I was learning, and I wanted to make sure that I don't come with, I don't make assumptions, and I don't bring what I've learned in Canada and think that it's automatically going to apply here, because this is a different country, a different culture, a different company. So it's like a clean slate for me. And I said, I'm just going to observe and I'm going to learn. One thing that works for me, and I've always had this since I was a little girl, and it's helped me a lot in my career and in my personal life, is intuition. I'm not the smartest girl on the block. I really am not. And I'm not the most technical, and I'm not, but I'm extremely intuitive. And I read people very well because I spent a lot of time alone analyzing people, observing interactions. And that helped me in my childhood. It helped me in my personal life, and it helped me throughout my career. My instincts and my intuition has guided me to here, actually. And so when I came here, I used that intuition to read people. And I adapt my style and my personality to the way that would allow me to best engage with that individual so they can be responsive. They can
Yeah.
respond to me
Is
in
it
a positive way.
psychology?
Yes, in a way. In a way. Yes. I'm not going to lie. You need to. Uh, and the way I look at it is, I always look, what do I want to achieve? When I interact with Sheikha, what is the purpose of my interaction with Sheikha? It always has to, because I'm using your time and I'm investing my time in that interaction. So, what is it that I want to achieve? And what is it that I think Sheikha wants to get from the interaction with me? Because I want to make sure that your interaction with me is also positive, and you feel after that interaction that it was positive and that you won. Like it's a win-win. It's not time lost. It's time well spent. So every single person, like I said, is different. And yes, I do use psychology. So if in interacting with you, I say, okay, I have to be gentle with this person. It's the best way to achieve what I need to achieve with this individual is to be humble and to be, very, very gentle and ask in a very delicate way. She will respond more to that than if I was to come in a very aggressive and bold way. Mind you, with some people, that's not the way it would work. With other people, I know that if I was going to come too humble and too low, I'm not going to succeed. I have to come from the top, and I have to show them who's the boss and who's in charge. Yes. So it's every single interaction is tailored, custom made for the person that I'm interacting
I
with.
love that. What I can see in our generation coming from youth, I feel like many youth are now facing mental battles. And I feel like they're more into mental health and into depression and anxiety and all of this. So, coming from you, let's say you did not face or struggle with mental health when you were younger. What kind of advice you'd give to youth to control or to be patient and to know that everything will be okay in order for them to be successful?
This question is actually very close and dear to my heart. I don't struggle myself with this, but a lot of people who are very, very close to me, very young people close to me, dear to me, who I love very much, I've learned a lot from them about these kinds of struggles because they go through it, and they went through it and are still going through this. Very smart people, very ambitious, very hardworking, very dedicated, maybe a little bit even too perfectionist, because that's where they get hard on themselves. They look at this world and they feel, what's the point? You know, why are we doing all this? What's the purpose of this whole life? My advice, and I think the advantage we had in my generation, we didn't have the social media. We weren't bombarded with information real time, 24/7 hours a day, and all the global problems were, one click away, and then it starts affecting my life, right? We didn't have that. And it's unbelievable how much the youth of today has to absorb in terms of information, in terms of news, and most of the news is negative. It's all the negativity. What I've done anyway, even for myself now, I disconnect. I don't read news. I don't listen to news. Only things that bring me joy. Anything that's negative and I can't control, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it because I can't change it. And it can only bring negativity to my life. And so my advice to the youth is A, do not measure yourself against anything in the social media world. Don't look at Instagram and say, oh, wow, these people are having a beautiful life. Look where they are. Look where I am. Do not compare yourself. I think this is the first thing. And then be gentle and be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Love yourself. Accept yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Uh, life is full of ups and downs, and it's a beautiful journey because of those ups and downs. It's a beautiful journey, but your life, your journey, it's yours alone. Do not compare it. And I think the most of the time, the reason for I'm not a psychologist. I don't want to be presumptuous. I'm just comparing, and I'm saying that because of the people that are close to me that have gone through this and went through therapy. What I've learned is that social media had a big impact on their perception of themselves. And that really affected a lot of their mental state. And when they disconnected, it actually really, really helped them turn things around.
So when I was first here at Do in around 2021, I was in a different department. So I always like remember my manager. He was an accent manager to me, and he was very good to me actually. So I was like living in I won't say a spa. It was very calm. It was relaxed. Like I love life, and I think that time we had the pandemic and COVID. So I used to have not so much tasks, but I did not like it. Like I was telling them I want to do more, but there was a reason that I did not have more. It's not a personal reason. So I understood later on. So then I was moved departments. I was moved to IT. And then I came here. And then I just thought the vibe was different. I'm like, what? I just came from a spa and I'm relaxed. What am I into? I just sense the vibe. So then I just, met my newly manager and everything. And alhamdulillah, till this day, أذكرها بالخير, like, she's very supportive of me. So what she did to me was actually like, do you have any background, like an IT project management? I was like, no, I just took like one course at uni. It's like, okay, but then tell me how would you deal with situations? So then I started telling her how would deal with situations. So prepare for a handover.
Oh.
I said, handover for what? She's like, I'm gonna give you like for around like it was around 40 to 50 tasks. I was like, no, I don't think I can. Like I don't have the experience. I don't know the process, and I don't this and this. And I think she said, no, it's okay. You'll be fine. I said, you'll be fine.
Baptism by fire.
And then, like, I thought of when I came home, I thought of it and, like, what if this is the challenge that I'm able to overcome and then show her that I can achieve?
Yes.
This is how I took it in.
Good. As soon as you become too comfortable in a job, that's the time to leave. When it becomes in anything in life, actually, when you're in a situation and it's very, very comfortable, it feels easy, it's predictable, you don't feel butterflies in your stomach, and you don't feel this healthy nervousness and anxiety, it's time for a change. Because this is growth, right? Growth comes with, you feel it. You feel yourself growing every time you take a new task, even if you're not going to be great at it. Are you going to learn one or two things from it that you didn't know before you took it? Then that's growth. You just grew that much more. So this is how I built my career. I would take a job. I will be in the role for a year, 2 years. As soon as I feel that I've learned enough and it started to be comfortable and my performance rating is good and everybody's happy with me, I knew this is time for me to go. Because if I stayed too long in a comfort zone, I become more hesitant then to move out. You start to doubt yourself and your ability that you're going to be able to do something different because you're so good at this and you got so used to being the best at it that, what if I take something and I fail at that? What if? So what? You fail at it, but you would have learned something from it. You grow. So it's really important. I'm very proud of you that you did that. It's very important to take something and do something that is so uncomfortable, so out of your comfort zone and the ordinary for you, because that's the way you learn.
And I
It's the
think
way
it's
to
okay to
grow.
make mistakes.
Absolutely, it's okay to make
You learn
mistakes.
from them.
There is no such thing as mistakes. I've tried, this was an outcome. It's not the outcome I want. So now I try again in a different way to get maybe a different outcome. And that could be the outcome that I want, or maybe not. But at least now I know that if I do this, this is the outcome. If I do that, that's the outcome. And so it's learning. There is no such thing as a mistake or a failure. And I think that's also contributes to positive attitude when you ask me. That's how I see life. There is no such thing. I haven't made mistakes in my life, which maybe if other people would think, oh, maybe, yeah, you did. Here's the list. The reason why I don't see it as a mistake is because when I tried something, I made sure that I didn't have those expectations of, you know, this is exactly how it should be. And if it's not exactly like this, then I failed at it. No, I took a risk. This is how I see life. You take a risk, you take a chance, and then you see what the outcome is going to be. And if the outcome is what you want and what you need at that time, great. If not, you take another chance. You take another risk. It's all risks. And what you said about, the CEO of the company here, and actually all my colleagues, all the CXOs, they're amazing human beings, not just leaders, but as human beings. They care, they genuinely care about the people, they care about each other. I mean, we care about each other as CXOs. And I think that's special. That's not in all organizations that you see that. It's special, and it's what makes it worthwhile for me to be here away from my family, working the hours we're working with the team, because I feel like I'm part of a family away from my family.
Alhamdulillah, that's a good thing. And I remember when I called you regarding something and you were like, Sheikha, where are you? I'm like, Jamal, I'm in Abu Dhabi. Come here. Let's have a iftar together with the team. Like, oh my God.
Yeah,
It's like
you're so sweet. Thank you for coming.
2 hours drive.
I
can't,
know,
Jamal.
I know. Next
But
time.
that's really welcoming, and I really appreciate you for coming today. And I think it was a wonderful and amazing conversation that we had here. And we cannot say what happens here stays here, because what happens here is gonna go public.
Oh my.
And I think we should be prepared for that, because I think everyone's gonna be interested and want to hear about the conversation. But I think we did have an amazing outcome, and I think we had a message to all the employees, to all youth, and to everyone in general, not just specifically to the company. And thank you again for coming and giving us your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.